much for having me, and thank you for this opportunity again to be able to address the good people of Lagos. The Labour Party is an institution that is focused mainly on workers' rights, on restoring dignity to labor, on social welfare, social justice, the idea that you can have broad-based growth with a real emphasis on productivity. It's really about productivity, about ensuring that there's a social welfare system, a social welfare net to be able to ensure that everybody is carried along in the development of a state or the constituency of the country. It's also about ensuring that the workers' rights are protected, both formal and informal workers are carried along. And that's what our manifesto is also saying. And you know also one of the major pushes in the Labour Party is about moving from consumption to production, having a productive economy. I think that's where I'll put the line there for Labour Party. My choice and the process by which I came to it was one from a philosophical point of view where I believe that since colonization, Nigeria has sort of lost its identity. Its understanding and placement of the traditional council and traditional type of government that was in place before we were colonized. And it sort of has given us this identity crisis situation, and a situation where the uptake of policy is not something that is very easily achievable. And so that's one. And I feel that it's extremely important that governments now, as opposed to just inheriting the colonizer position, restores dignity to traditional ruling houses. So that was one factor. Also, this other factor about gender balance, which is extremely important to me. And also having somebody that's highly cerebral, has political experience, and sound management. So the choice of my deputy was Princess Islamiat Abiodun Oyefusi. She is the daughter of the late Ayogbore of Ikorodu. She's a graduate of law. She has an MBA, and she also has a degree in management studies. And another thing that's extremely important to me is she has experience in local government, local governance, especially in England, where she worked in the boroughs and local government structures there. So there's a lot of wealth of experience that she's going to bring to the table. She's also a senatorial candidate for Lagos East in 2019 election, during which she did remarkably well. So yeah, that was my choice for deputy governor. So social justice is extremely important for us. It's one of the pillars on which we're going to build the new Lagos. And social justice for us is also about restoring the value for the Lagosian life, right? And this comes with monitoring, it comes with consequences, and it comes with enforcement. And this goes even to hospitals, where you can bring a person and then they just watch this person die in the reception, or they don't act effectively because there are no consequences to medical negligence, right? So we're going to instill feedback loops in all of these agencies across the state. Sorry, I mean sectors, not agencies. To create feedback loops where we gather data and monitor these product delivery and service delivery, and also enforce in relation to negligence. So from hospitals to schools to any facet of public service. We're also going to make the DPP, Directorate of Public Prosecution, robust, and there'll be commissions under it. There'll be hotlines, places that you can call to report police brutality, and any incidents like this, from medical negligence, police brutality, and any issue that challenges social justice. So we have rapid response from government that will see it all the way through. The idea is by the time we're done in 4 years, when people know that a Lagosian has come to get service, they will treat that person with dignity and respect, because if they don't, there'll be consequences to it. So as an architect, I'm uniquely positioned to be able to solve this problem. For me, it starts with the disrespect of, or the lack of implementation of a proper wetland protection policy, right? The wetlands are nature's natural reservoirs, especially in a coastal city. And even though some people might say Lagos is sinking, you look at most of the Nordic countries, a lot of them are below sea level. But with the way they've managed their water systems, they are thriving just fine. So for us, we're going to have a wetland protection policy that is sacrosanct to development and ensure that this is part of the urban planning for Lagos in general. We have a wetland protection policy that will be sacrosanct to urban planning. We'll also make sure that we dredge our waterways and map out our waterbeds so that when we give people contracts to dredge sand from our waterways, it's data driven and is towards our long-term objective of actually creating waterways for water transportation. We'll also make sure that we turn Lagos State to a fully functioning zero waste state in terms of waste management. So we redefine in the minds of our people the idea of waste. It's not something you just throw away. I'm on record to say that it's a disgrace that the Assembly of Lagos State has consistently turned down the local government autonomy bill. It's very unfortunate. For our government, the local government will form the foundation on which our government will rest, because all our policies will be coming from a robust local government structure. We'll also be giving them back responsibilities in terms of revenue generating, such as advertorial responsibilities and benefits in terms of revenue generation that has been usurped by the state. All our programs, whether it be employability skills that I want to give our youth, waste management, waste to wealth processes, everything will be domiciled at the local government, because we believe that would allow for a very solid uptake for these policies. We also feel that having potential governors as local government chairmen will be visionary leaders, will be able to actually turn local governments around, and that has been lacking. Like Mr. Doherty said, you have a situation where they are rewarding political lackeys with local government positions. That will not be the case with us. We want high performance, high thinking visionaries as local government chairmen, and they will champion development at that local government, which will make my work a lot easier. As an architect, I'm uniquely positioned to solve this problem. So first of all, we're going to start with the foundation of a statewide rail transportation system that opens up the Lagos West and Lagos East. We're going to look at land titles and giving it to indigenous communities so developers can work with them directly. This will improve the speed at which projects are done. We'll also take out all the bottlenecks involved in urban planning and getting your proposals from the state. We're going to make it as digital as possible so that you can get your planning and it can be surveyed, and you can have surveillance on it constantly going with GIS, so you don't really have to interact with so many people, taking out corruption from the system. We are also going to ensure that we include in planning permissions multi-income housing. That means you must provide for affordable housing in whatever development that you are doing to get planning permission. If you choose not to do it in that particular space, that volume of affordable housing can be allocated to a land given by government for affordable housing to be built there. We're also going to look to ensure that we use innovative technology, alternative means of construction to be able to create affordable housing. And for us, we'll be looking to extend and expand the value chains of fisheries across the state and use the comparative advantages of different local governments where these kind of activities are done, and also creating after-school programs to educate the people that are resident there about that value chain and how to engage in it. So we're talking about places like Ikorodu, Ekpe, Badagry, parts of Ojo, and parts of Apapa as well. And also carry all the riverine ballets along, right, in all of this. We cannot just sit down and allow some marina and create these policies. The ballets of all the riverine communities must be carried along as well. We're also going to push cold storage across all our marketways and cold storage logistics. We're going to fund and give credits to businesses like that to improve the quantum of fishery that we can get to the marketplace from the waterways. We're also going to prioritize ecotourism in Lagos East Division. So it's more than just fisheries, also the environment, climate, green, also trying to clean our water as well, because a lot of our water is extremely dirty. Adding organisms that will help clean our water, mollusks, bottom feeders into our waterways. So our water is a lot more attractive for the tourist industry as well. So when you do this, you can also start to get funding from the EU, from the international community, to be able to create this kind of so the first step will be to immediately publish all our expenses, line by line items, do this in infographics so it makes it very engaging for people. And then in doing this, also set benchmarks that tie to the World Bank benchmarks for what a project should cost per kilometer of road, per kilometer of rail. Now you find that since 1999, the amount of money that was spent on roads only gave us about 6.85 kilometers of road. But when you benchmark it to the World Bank benchmark, we would have had about 100.5 kilometers of road. So we had an opportunity cost of over 90 kilometers of road. So these are things that we need to change in relation to also plugging these loopholes. Will then open up the Lagos West and Lagos East corridor so we can start to have more people applying for C of Os, generating more income from that. There's also a lot of land that has been misappropriated by this government. No value was brought to the state's treasury. We're going to look into that as well and free up those lands, because that is value literally being tied down and sitting out. So by freeing that up, we also generate revenue for the state. Another important factor for us is we're not going to tie the development of Lagos to the purse strings of Lagos State. We're going to create an enabling environment, a government of platforms that allows the private sector and people to invest in a lot of development that we're doing. We have no interest in sharing money or stealing money or taking 1.2 billion to do a rail line that's taking 14 years. Will be to announce that the BRT lanes are going to be open to the private sector, that you no longer have to be registered in the sense of having a monopoly, because that's what currently is giving in Lagos State, where you have people waiting for 30, 40 minutes to be able to get on a bus, and they're completely underserved. So we're opening up that lane to the private sector. If you have a vehicle that can take 30 to 40 people, you can use the BRT lanes, and I believe that Lagosians will be happy to hear that. This election is a watershed moment, and youth have risen up to their responsibility of not leaving politics to politicians. I believe that our government will create a Lagos that works and focuses on enabling a quality of life for the people and their businesses. The pillars of our project for a new Lagos, as I'm called, the architect of a new Lagos, is to make Lagos a lot more livable, to improve the capacity for Lagos to ease of doing business. Currently, we rank lower than Kaduna, that's dealing with Boko Haram issues. We want to make Lagos truly the capital, the commercial capital of Nigeria. We want an all-inclusive Lagos that takes the formal and informal sector and gives benefits and incentives to taxes that they are paying and taxes that they are accruing. We're also going to use innovation to create a new system. As opposed to fighting the current system, we'll create a new system that makes their system obsolete. We're going to have a grassroots Lagos that's about a robust local government system that has potential governors, visionary leaders at the helm of affairs. We're going to have an open Lagos, a Lagos where we're publishing our accounts line by line and illustrating it with infographics to make sure that it's engaging, and setting benchmarks for the cost of projects that we're doing and the lifespan of these projects. We're also going to have a safe Lagos, a Lagos that is safe in terms of security, employability skills that we're giving to our youth.